chat, and I will try my best to answer them. But Joe, thank you very much for letting me sit at this here desk with you for, I guess, my second Midday Friday in a row. This is awesome.
Yeah, it was fantastic stuff. Shout out to Devontae, my little brother, coming into the chat here today. So I hope you're having a fantastic day at work, my friend, or my little bro. Good seeing you a couple weekends ago. It needs to happen more often. I hope everyone has a fantastic. You're going to see me momentarily, and then after me, it's going to be Adair back at the desk.
And Trump and oil at 2:30, guys.
A lot going on. We got the rundown. Looking forward to those things. We'll see you guys momentarily.
See you guys.
Nice.
Yo, oil.
Yo.
Oil, you say?
Who said something about oil?
You said something about oil?
You cooking?
We stay cooking.
Yeah, Chappelle Show. It's always, if you hear me quote something randomly, you're like, what is that? It's like 99% chance it's Chappelle Show. I see, Adair was busy making a lot of trades. I still see those positions.
That VST short, though, I saw that 170 breakdown she had, and then the 166.
Bye. Right at the open, that stock. All of the meta hype. Well, Meta had some deals this morning. So welcome, everybody. If you missed it this morning, Meta was all about that power, that nuclear power. And it was not, I mean, this is Vistra. It looked like it was going to be good. And you also was Oklo as well, the big powerhouse. Well, you know, that was kind of a fading tower. You got to watch out. Whenever you come into the open and all it's doing is making lower highs and can't hold VWAP, it's never really a good sign. The one that tried to go was SMR, but even that sucker stunk and is now only up 4.8%. So all of the hype train, it feels like the defense plays yesterday, like with Palantir. Like all that hype to the breakout and we end up in the other direction. Intel has been an absolute rocket ship. I find myself flat right now. If there's one thing I should be in, could always do better. It's silver. So we missed silver all morning long because I came in today and silver did not make the list. I was like, I'm going to trade SMR, I'm going to trade Intel, I'm going to trade, what else? Occidental and Opendoor. Those were the four stocks and trade all four of them, but silver wasn't there, so missed out the big uptrend and caught a reversion, but missed an obvious long off of VWAP. So the market might be slightly up. 1% for the Nasdaq, big tech rebound here, but silver super, super strong. Let's see if we can actually maybe get this one again. MF Dangerous, wonder if Neil sold his Intel at 45 as per the prophecy. I prophesized Intel. No, I didn't.
I mean, somebody sold at 45.
Sell. Okay, first of all, there was 1.2.
I played around.
1.2 million.
I think so. 1.2 million on one gate, 300K and some change on Memex. So altogether, around over. Well, let's just round it up or down to 1.5 million shares being shown on the book, exactly at 145, and that's the same size that was there earlier when price only got to 99.
Yes.
How crazy is that?
But I can tell you, like the first time at 45 was an obvious short, and then the breakout happened. I went for a walk and didn't have the breakout, but then I tried the short like a little bit later when it tried to fail here, and that was right at 45. Got out of it relatively tight, but no. And I don't think I prophesized 45 either, because if I had prophesized 45, don't you think I would have held the original long to 45? Right? Ooh, APLD.
Yep.
Day two.
I got involved just now.
Oh, yeah, there you go. Well, that just make the high. Why do you want my charts? Obi just got into APLD on this reversion here.
I mean, we don't know if it's well, I don't know if it's a reversion just yet.
Well, it's a topping tail after a parabolic move up, and it's up 17%. So that's the trade. Whether it actually reverts or not, it's still a reversion.
Definitely a little late.
One way or another. One of the strongest walks. And Pops Mafia, Neil went for a walk on a winter's day, California dreaming. It's not that wintry outside. It's like
it's been beautiful.
It's 11 degrees Celsius, so whatever that is in Fahrenheit. I don't know, 52?
Plus minus a few.
What is that? Is that 52?
Oh, what's the conversion there?
Multiply by 1.8 and add 32.
Oh, I can't. I'm doing that. I don't.
Let's just call it 52 degrees.
Let me get better at my quick.
So whatever that is. So it's a pretty nice day here in Toronto, Canada.
Let me see. All right, so we're going to Fahrenheit to Celsius? You said
you're gonna actually
51.8. You were right. You were so close. Let's go. Round up 52s. Nice.
All right, let's just shut her down. I'm just gonna sit here and chill. Probably won't do anything better than that for the rest.
Look how easy Google is to use now. All I need to type is F2C, and it just knows.
You don't even have to type. You could just say it to your phone.
Yeah, that as well. But then you'd have to say the whole word. You're gonna be like Fahrenheit, Celsius. What if I said F2C on my phone? Would it give me the same result? I don't know.
I doubt it. I'm not gonna try it though.
Yeah.
All right. So Apple, I almost said Apple Oven. Applied Digital. Yesterday, rocket ship gives it all back. How many times do you see something like this? Give the entire move back on day one earnings, and then the next day go absolutely ham and really break it out. Maybe that's why it's so good, because so many people got shaken out of the trade yesterday that it's even better on day two. So the day two play on APLD. Ooh, look at that. Good catch. Now I really know why you're short, because this is the October.
Oh, I didn't even see that. That's confluence. Maybe I should get in more.
What do you mean you didn't see that?
I mean, I was already watching it, and I was like, oh, that's a little bit of a break. But yeah, you know, prior levels definitely add some good confluence.
So you're saying you didn't look at the daily chart?
I mean, I looked at it yesterday.
Yeah, well, there you go. So
it's in there somewhere.
Yeah, no, but seriously, as long as you looked at it, you probably in the back of your mind, you know that 38's a level.
I trust my subconsciousness a little too much.
Now I'm half interested in it myself. All right, everybody. We're gonna let Joe matriculate at some point to the desk. Once you see him behind, we'll be able to do the rundown. But what I'm watching outside of silver, obviously now APLD, Tesla went pretty crazy. The overall market has been, I think, what we describe this as? Like a grind higher with some punctuated moves. The initial dip, or the 10 o'clock dip, is the biggest one on the SPY, and then it's been like a more orderly stair step to the upside. Less than 1% though we're sitting at on the SPY. It's the Qs that are stronger after being weak in tech. Today it's up 1%, but more or less the same pattern in there. Mag 7, meh. You know, like Apple's pretty flat here. Tesla's been relatively strong. If you want to blame somebody for the malaise, just place all the blame on NVIDIA. NVIDIA, nothing. The same range that NVIDIA put in the first, I mean, it's trying to go now, in the first 30 minutes or 10 minutes, it's still trying to break out that same high. Maybe it's going to do that. That could be at least a little bit interesting. But as I'm looking, silver's trying to pull back into VWAP. Do I still like it? This is a lower high. I don't know. I'm not feeling that. Like, APLD actually looks more interesting than the silver. Maybe I'll do that.
I mean, I kind of want to talk a little bit about what happened on Intel here earlier. So we saw this level show up much earlier, and like that was a trade, I think. We kind of talked about it while it was happening too. Funny enough, I don't get a single share on that pullback in, but you can see it pulls up into 45s and then doesn't really trade any of that size. That size was sitting there, 1.2 million on what gate was it? Was it a Nasdaq gate? I think so. I think it might have been. Yeah, it was on Nasdaq. So 1.2 million on the ask, just showing itself, and then it doesn't even get hit. Obviously gets a little front run, and sellers kind of start stepping in off of that. That was a beautiful, beautiful pullback into VWAP. And then on the second push, I see it, and I'm like, all right, cool. I'm gonna wait. I'm gonna be patient. This is very likely to break. That's what I'm thinking. And I'm like, I'm gonna take the back through, because I'm looking for a false break, because I'm like, I know people are going to punch in long, and if they do punch in long, I do want to get involved on the back through. And on the initial push, like I take a little bit of size, pulls back in, 87 lows, and I just get out of it right there. That was pretty decent Momo. But then after that, I size down significantly, and I start playing the range. I start working this range. Eventually, I'm just like, okay, I have a lot by here. I have like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I let it clip the highs as well. When it comes back into the lows, I'm like, all right, this is, if it's gonna go, it's gonna go now. So add. When it starts to step right back up, I'm like, all right, I gotta take this hit because it's not gonna go. I just punch out. I'm like, all right, whatever. Give some back, and lo and behold, while I'm not at my desk, this thing goes all the way from 45 tens to 45 halves. So yeah, here the probability definitely changed in my head, where I was just like, yeah, this is not going to the downside like I'm looking for, and very likely to kind of either chop around or continue to push this 22, 23 level that it hit earlier on the initial push through that 45. So that 45 break, that was a nice trade. I missed that one, but that gave me a little bit of information. I was just like, okay, how far is it going to actually get? When it pulls back in, yeah, it doesn't really get any further than 44.87s, consolidates, and then pushes up higher to 45.5. So this thing is really stepping up. Don't forget, this thing isn't a bigger picture uptrend. I'm just trying to take a quick little scalp. I'm thinking right here it's going to do something similar where, you know, supply steps in front of 45, and I'm looking for it to step right back in on what I think in the moment is a false break of that 45. But when that doesn't come in, I gotta leave. This is way too long of a sideways consolidation, indecisiveness. Players are definitely, you know, there's a bit of a battle that's happening here. Wow, as I'm talking, this thing is kind of starting to pull back in. But you know what? It continues to make higher highs and higher lows. So I do have to continue to look at this with a higher time frame here. Maybe even though it's starting to pull back in through this moving average, it's been holding here as well. I think this is a 9 EMA, I think. But yeah, so all things in consideration, Intel had a pretty crazy move during the midday session, as well as I'm sure there were other things happening as well. But that kind of size sitting, showing itself at the level, doesn't happen every day.
Okay, I just got the greatest update for this poker night.
No, I see. Wow, let's go.
Buddy.
Let's go.
No, so just,
okay.
We're about to start the rundown, but
Nice.
I mentioned this morning. There's a little bit of a poker night happening. A couple of former traders on the floor have their own office. Now, obviously, here is now just a show, and some of us are going to play poker at their office. Yeah. I just found out that Arun is going to be making an appearance. So I haven't seen Arun in forever, but it'll be good to catch up with him. So that should always be fun. That's the thing. Traders love to hang out and play poker and talk trading. We're going to talk some trading right now, starting at the desk with Joe and the rundown, where we talk about the names you're interested in.
All right, guys, welcome to the afternoon rundown, the segment where you guys get to pick the stocks that we talk about. So make sure you guys get into both chats, whether it be the midday or with Obi and Neil, and put those dollar signs in the tickers, maybe even leading into Monday's session, so you can see exactly what's going to be at the top of our list. But a lot to talk about. Make sure you get those votes in, guys, and participate. Otherwise, your ticker may not show up on the afternoon rundown. All right, guys, let's get right into things at some of the top performing sectors here today. And leading the way, it's either feast or famine as of late, with the tech sector, guys, up 1.39%. In that second place, we have the materials sector up 1.32%, and then utilities up 1 1/3. Now, as for the bottom three, guys, the energy sector up 0.1%, but the financials and healthcare turning red. We got financials down 0.14% and the healthcare sector down 0.5% as well. But as for the major averages here, guys, on today's session, all of them holding on to the green side of things. With the Nasdaq up 1.1%, we have the SPY up 5.56%, and then the Dow Jones up 0.1%, and the IWM holding on by a thread, 0.02%. Now, as for the week, guys, considering it is Friday, all of them are going to close in the green, with the IWM up a staggering 5%, 4.99 to be exact, the Dow Jones sitting in second place. So a little bit of a rotation, which we were talking about earlier today, out of tech and into some small caps, with the potential of a rate cut looming. Now, as for the Qs, it's going to be in last place. Once again, feast or famine with these guys, 0.96%. Still positive, and we will take it. But let's get right into the rundown, guys. And the first name that we're going to be talking about with one of the most votes is Oklo. And yes, you guessed it, Adara bringing us this news, and Brendo this morning. And we've seen a little bit of a volatility spike right at the announcement, 6 a.m. sharp, as Oklo shares trade higher after the company announced an agreement with Meta to advance plans for a 1.2 gigawatt power campus to support Meta's data centers. Now, as for the stock and its performance as of late, guys, you can see that we're down still approximately off of that previous high, 45%, but you got to start somewhere. And today's a good start, a gap up, no continuation, but still holding on to positivity, guys.
I mean, it's holding on to gains. But the best you could have, if you were bullish on these nuclear names today, specifically Oklo or like the SMR or Vistra, like your best bet was to not have traded. Or there was like, I mean, what? There was one shot in SMR, and you could make a reasonable argument that you could have caught a couple of like hero longs here, like just sort of random. There's a random turnaround at no particular price on OKLO and another random one near the prior low that you could have got some good gains on. This one, I suppose, too, like a little mini trend break here. But realistically, it's been sell the news all morning. And unfortunately, that's sort of the thing. Like, you get a deal, but then materially, considering these guys don't make any, none of these make any money, it's hard to really project this because these are all relatively overvalued from any reasonable metric. So when they get a deal like this, it gets into some froth. So maybe that's the reason you get the pullback. I would venture to say that the one that had some semblance of a trade, ultimately that didn't matter, and that's going to be SMR. Like, if you're a day trader, SMR was the best because it had this breakout. And that was the best. Like, this was a downtrend. You could have taken the same moment, the trend break on Oklo. This one just happened to go nuts, but it ended up flushing. So overall, this was a short today. Like, if you, okay, fine. Like, SMR was a good long waiting for this one trend break. But if you were shorting this thing, you were short a lot. And you probably lost once, and you had a lot of wins. So overall, your better bet would have been to fade the news here. That wasn't my play. And when I look at these on the daily chart, SMR is a failure of the 50 period and failing this lower high. At least OKLO, to its credit, is going to hold this 100, be above the 50, and still be in a potential like stronger position. So despite both of them giving it back, on the higher time frame, Oklo did better today, holding some of the gains, and it makes sense because they got the deal. The sympathy play sometimes isn't going to be as structurally good, but you were just so much better off if you tried to sell. So got away with going long one time, and I don't think I'll try it again today.
Yeah, I think the thing about Oklo was that prior daily breakout level was at 114.29, right? And it had, or if you look at the pre-market action now, we had already broken out of that level on the initial reaction. The initial reaction took us all the way up to 121s, and then we couldn't really hold that 114 coming in off of the open. Not only that, the opening range high comes in at 115.67. So range highs just underneath that 116, flushes lower high, and then since then, you can, again, more pieces of information, more reasons to kind of look for the sell, more reasons to sell when we come into this multi-hour long consolidation. So 2 hours long, right there, all the way from 7 a.m. to 9:30. The lows were in and around 114s. The lower high is made around 114 halves, and also confluences with VWAP rejection. Not only that, a second test of VWAP gives us that flush down and then a slow, steady bleed for the rest of the day. So I think some of the best places to get in, if you were a little nimble off of the open, and I personally only had a long bias on these stocks, but eventually I did get involved with SMR when it was doing something similar, when it was kind of rejecting off of its VWAP, showing us that multiple tests of VWAP, multiple tests of pre-market structure just could not get through, and then you start to kind of bleed off. So yeah, a lot of reasons to sell, some reasons to buy. Maybe off of this dip, you're taking the tape turn into it, maybe pulling into VWAP as well. But more often than not, there were stronger reasons to sell on Oklo, and as well as some of the other names as well. So VRT. Was it VST, right? That was the one? Yeah, Vistra Corp. Similar kind of story here where we did a bit of a breakout. We pull back in. We try to chop around VWAP, and then VWAP eventually breaks. Eventually, this consolidation low, bit of a flag just underneath 171, starts to crack down, step lower, step lower, step lower. So not as clean of a pre-market structure to go off of. But if you're looking at this from a reversion perspective, even on VST, you can just be like, all right, this is a bit of an uptrend, and we just slam off of the open. You're just like, all right, cool, the bid has been broken. now we're making lower highs. So I know it sounds nice in retrospect, but regardless, I think getting involved in some of these names with those reasons to sell was definitely worth it throughout the day.
Oh, okay, all right, there we go. Sorry about that, guys. All right, Intel being up next, and Mr. Donald Trump stating that the 9.9% stake Intel has generated tens of billions of dollars for the American people. Now, Intel jumping over 75% in the last 6 months, as shares rose approximately 3.7% off of its previous lows, but now climbing up to $45. We were taking a look at the options chain earlier in the week on Intel, and we were running into supply zones at 45, but those seem to be getting absorbed. What do you guys think about INT?
Well, in hindsight, whomever it was that said, hey, Neil, did you sell at 45 like you prophesized? I did not prophesize selling at 45. And as I said earlier, the plan was actually to take a 42.50 break long. I would have held it to 45 if I actually thought that. But no, I actually thought it was a breakout from here to fill in yesterday's gap. So when it did any kind of a, dip, and like I didn't short it. At least I didn't short it at that level. Thank goodness. But Intel then took the next leg up and went into the week high and decided to continue going. I did try a short off the 45 level. Not really. I didn't really give it a lot of room, to be honest with you. Thank goodness, because this has just been an absolute beast. You got the U.S. government investing, not just investing in Intel, causing a bit of a bump, but also talking them up. You have essentially probably bipartisan support wanting a U.S. company to, not just in the fab business, but you want more onboarding here in terms of not just design, but also in fab, which is going to benefit Intel as well. You've got NVIDIA that wants to make it work with them. They've made an investment. That being said, because the yields aren't high enough for Intel on their advanced chips, and NVIDIA kind of has put that on the back burner. But there's always that underlying. It's just starting to get a little bit frothy, considering there's no there yet, which is wild to me. Like, all we have is a lot of hope, some progress, undoubtedly some progress, and the support of the U.S. government and the most important tech company in the world. That counts for a lot. How much more does it count for without some really solid improvement and some customers lined up? I don't know. But I think we're going to find out, because regardless of how far I thought it was going to go today, it's gone even further than that. And when you look at the monthly chart, okay, it seems like we're a pretty clear shot now for the $50 level, and that should be a pretty big test. Like, if you look at the move that this has made on Intel, the real test comes at 50. So we've got another 10% to go. If nothing crazy changes fundamentally, when it gets there, I'd be hard-pressed to believe it's going to just blast through. But who knows? By then, you will probably have some earnings to have dealt with in the entire, not just Intel, but some of the other tech names as well. So maybe something will change by the time we get to this 50 level. But it seems like we're on a collision course with Intel. I wish I'd believed in it more today.
Yeah, definitely.
Sometimes it's a weird thing. Like, trading is fickle. That I had 2 longs this morning, and the one that was better for me was the one that was actually, well, not Oklo, was the one that was actually like an all-day short. Like, SMR was a better long for me than Intel. Intel was the one that followed through. It's just like, it is what it is, man. Sometimes it's just how it is. You look back and you're like, how? But what are you going to do? I
mean, you took the trade that was to be had, that opening range, not really opening range, but pre-market high break, as well as that prior day consolidation high break. But yeah, the long was definitely very strong. Again, another time where Intel is getting that presidential seal, being like, okay, you know, he's talking to the CEO and saying, you know, everything's good. And it catches that bid and continuation with volume off of the open. But yeah, that 45 level, I just want to mention that one again. That one was, it was very obvious when it showed up where that this is going to be a significant level. It pulls all the way up into that 45. Once we see that, we does not get anywhere near it. It got to 99s and then runs right away when that size starts to show up on the ask there. So that was kind of interesting. That was, I think, the second trade to be had. The reversion, maybe a level hold, a held offer, if you want to call it that, which is exactly what it was. Only 99s were the high of day print at this point. After that, it did come in. It did come in for a bit of a test, and we held for that test on top of 45. We pulled back into 44.87s for a little bit, but that consolidation lasted over 30, 40 minutes where, you know, I even was like, yeah, I see it, I like it, I want it, I got it, it's right there, back through 45, and, you know, but it didn't really follow through. It just sideways consolidated for over my time limit, and I punched out. It started to step up, and it's continuing to step up right now, still holding above 45, even though this is starting to look like it's rounding out. That's exactly what it looked like this time on top of 45. So now I'm asking, can you hold the quarter and print the half? It definitely did it before. Let's see if it could do it again here on Intel today. Very, very strong on the day, pushing almost 10%. It is actually at 10% right now on the day.
All right. Next up, we have the very popular Open Door. A big pop here this morning, but a lot of it having to do with Mr. Trump and his potential $200 billion mortgage stimulus plan. A lot of analysts not liking this, and it could backfire. But I think what's more important here to look at, guys, is some of the technicals. From the July lows, Open Door is up a staggering 1,284% from that low to where we're currently trading at. Disregarding that previous pivot high of around $11, does Open Door get back to that $11 mark, guys?
I don't know. I just knew that, and we said this all week, one day, if Open Door breaks out above 7, we're gonna try to go long. So it broke above 7 today. The catalyst, okay, fine. Like, there was a catalyst. It didn't really matter. It was probably gonna try to take it regardless. But it was a little VWAP hold into the high. I'm just going to get to what's happening now because, like, clearly, I already we went over this in the lesson of the day. You know, like, sometimes you hold on, Intel didn't hold, Open didn't hold, both of them look bad, and then SMR looks genius. You got to take the good with the bad in that case and just do you. But this is now in a pretty distinct downward channel, and it's failing underneath VWAP and the open range high. Pun not intended. So while in the higher, it's another one, consider it like Oklo right now, where in the higher time frame, it still looks pretty good on the breakout, even though it's giving a little bit up. But when I look at it today for the afternoon, I'm kind of thinking, if it doesn't break this trend higher, I almost want to join it. I was trying to get cheeky with it, which I don't usually do, which is starting to see this channel form. Don't even just get involved and before it breaks out, which was sort of silly. I was like, yeah, let me front run this breaking back out, which is a mistake. So either I'm going to short this, scalp in the range. I also like IBIT for a short this afternoon. But if we break out here, then I can reverse and go into a secondary long. You have the squeeze factor that goes with this. So there's always plenty of juice that can come into it. Fundamentally, I mean, how much does this catalyst really do for their bottom line? I don't know. I'll leave that to Eric Jackson. He can explain it. I just like it as a momentum stock. So I try not to get too complicated with it. If there's a catalyst in the space and this is moving, then you trade some Open Door because it's going to give you some good moves. And for now, higher time frame, you know, maybe look for some longs, but that's not the only game in town. You know, right now, it's got this little down channel that I'd work with until it breaks.
Yeah, honestly, like yesterday, I was looking for that $6 breakdown here on Open Door because on Wednesday, it had a pretty aggressive sell-off again on that. Was it the BX news where, you know, he was just like, okay, we're going to stop corporations from buying up residential real estate, and we had a bit of a move on Open Door as well. We got to a low of 602. So coming in yesterday, I was like, okay, well, if that trend continues, if those sellers are still here, I want to take some inventory into and through $6. That never really showed up. That never really came. We pretty much traded sideways today, gapping up and holding above prior day's range, as well as the reference price of when that catalyst came out. Not only that, prior day high, which is week high as well, on Tuesday was around 699. We're gapping up and holding above that as well. Bit of a bid that breaks after hours highs and then opening range highs as well. So the long was definitely not wrong in the open session. Nice. But coming in to the end of the day here, bit of a reversion back to VWAP after an attempt again at $8. So 792 is the high here. But, you know, I'm open to either way on this one.
Ooh, pun intended. I like that one. Before we head on back to Joe, hey, when seconds count, everybody, you don't have time to just wait for treating symptoms. And with concussions, seconds do count. And that's why NYSE-listed Origenics, OGEN, is rewriting the rules of neurological care. They're looking to develop the first FDA-approved treatment for concussions. You can book a meeting with their team today. You can find the link in the description of the video. Big shout out to Origenics, again, OGEN on the NYSE. Let's go back. I'm going to make an educated guess. I didn't do any guessing as to what the next symbol is going to be, but I'm going to make a guess, and I'm going to guess Tesla, Joe. Is it Tesla?
And sorry, you're just on a little bit of a drawdown, Neil. That's all, my friend. You'll get right back. Now, don't worry, it's on the list. It's second. It's coming up. It's the last one. Be patient. Be patient. All right, guys, let's get into things. APLD is up next there. Neil, Applied Digital. Tesla, listen, Neil, before we get into Applied Digital, Neil, Tesla is at the top of it every single day. We got to switch things up a little bit, no? All right, guys. Applied Digital continuing its climb higher, still on the fact that it had a double beat on earnings, where analysts had expectations of a 10-cent loss, and that's coming in at 0 cents EPS right there. But revenue still increasing 250% year over year. Also signing a big deal with an American hyperscaler for their Polaris Forge 2 campus. Now, we're not too far off of the all-time highs here in APLD, only 8.5%, a little bit less than that, guys, and a nice move here in Applied Digital.
Oh, yeah.
You can say that again.
Yep.
Okay, we'll eventually talk about Tesla, but this is APLD. I think we mentioned this yesterday because on earnings, it was it was kind of a bamboozler on earnings. There's so much gamesmanship that was being played on the stock. In the monthly chart, this is like a Captain Insano candle here, that once this thing breaks 40, and it feels like at this point it's like a, you know, decent probability, I don't want to say high probability, but decent probability that you're going to get a 40 break on APLD. I feel like that's going to be a crowded but exciting kind of trade. For today, I was considering, I threw my offer on Open Door, and I'll try to get a pop to fade in IBIT. But I was considering this short at 38 because it's a resistance level on the daily as well. But yes, it just goes to show, when you have an earnings day one play, if it's a little choppy but there's good volatility, maybe come back to it on day two. Like I traded, it's weird, like I traded to plan better than any other day this week, but there was a downside to that because usually even if I'm looking at my 4, if something is going crazy, I'll usually jump to it and try something on it. And today I didn't with APLD for some reason, and that was a missed opportunity. I probably would have tried shorting here, so that could have gone either way. But yeah, day too long. It holds the range from the open and then just starts blasting. And I think that's the key. Like as long as it held that support that it had the prior day, that was kind of your cue that it was going to be good. So that 40-day, I think that 40 level, I think, on the daily is incoming. I mean, next week, we could be talking about this on Monday morning, to be honest with you, a 40 breakout, because I think that's the next big one here for APLD. Congrats to everyone that tried it on that second day. Don't give up just because day one was a little bit choppy.
Yeah, I mean, day one yesterday, you guys saw the trade that I had on it. It was pretty clean off of the open, chop fest for the rest of the day, and then maybe a bit of a fade coming into the end of the day here. Maybe players thinking, well, this is done, coming back into that earnings range high. But today is definitely day two, where we come in, clip prior day's close, and then look at the opening range high break again once more into 34s. Never really looks back on the opening range high. So let's get specific. What is that candle high there that I have here on the 3-minute? That's 33.93, so just shy of 34. Any sort of pullback, that first pullback to 34.11, so held pretty well. Now just step, 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 consolidation here, nice little push and squeeze. through the day highs, now consolidating on top of that. Now, I am a little bit involved here, just taking a bit of a dabble into this consolidation, looking for maybe a little bit of a pullback, but we'll wait and see. This thing is extended on the day, but if it's going to stair step up on earnings day 2, I do have to respect that as well at the same time. But yeah, solid structure. Day 1, bit of a chop. Day 2, holding structure pretty well and breaking. This was interesting right here where, you know, it finally breaks this short-term range, then goes into breaking the high, and that was real clean and nice as well as of right now. Let's see if it does more of the same or if it's done for the day. Volume's definitely dwindling relative to what we did in the morning session, but consistent relative volume here at the same time. I have about almost 2 times, 1.9 to 1.8 times our vol happening here on APLD today.
You know, here is Tesla. Up next, Congresswoman Lisa McClain being allowed to invest into Elon Musk's XAI with approximately a $100,000 to $250,000 investment made on December 15th. Well, Tesla is a publicly traded company. XAI is not, but a lot of investors would like to, but Lisa McClain having the ability to do so. Tesla still down 10% off of that $499 high. Is this the move where we recover and breach that $500 level? What do you guys think about Tesla?
Okay. I think tall tale to get there. We'll see. I mean, the trend seems like it's breaking today. I don't want to completely confirm it because I think it could be a little bit of a jinx, right? Like we could very easily not close above the 50 period today, and then this will look a heck of a lot different if we close at like 440 or something, and there's 90 minutes left to go, so there's plenty of time. I didn't necessarily love this one, and I think it boils down to the fact that there was just other names on my list that I liked better and that were top of the mind. That's all. You know, like I was waiting for the one shot in Oklo. I was sort of engaged in Open Door. It is what it is, but Tesla, yeah, the 440 was probably pretty good. I mean, it gave you, like, that's a pretty clean 1% move. If you don't like a 1% move in day trading, then don't day trade, that kind of a thing. But now all of a sudden it looks like it's on the back end. So on a 15-minute, well, I don't have to hit save, it automatically saves. See, look at that. On a 15, this just rolled over. So I think we might be headed into VWAP. And I'm looking for some reversion trades. I don't know if I love APLD. I'm thinking about Intel, but it looks good, not great on Intel in terms of a setup for a pullback. So this might be it, only you've missed the first $1.50 of the move, and it's consolidating in here. So it almost needs to pop back up, maybe retest 447, and if I get like a topping tail candle in there, you can short around the 446 level. So when I have Tesla on my mind, I'm just looking for ideas. It's Friday afternoon. I'm not going to force anything. If you have a good day or a good week, Friday afternoon is not usually the time to go too crazy. Actually, how about this? About all out 104, how do you come up with your trades for the day? When we're done the rundown, I don't mind answering that question. Let's get through the symbols. I talked about this a little bit in the lesson of the day. That was around noon, but certainly we can go over that because I think it's actually more important than this is what I'm taking today or this is a stock I'm looking at. It's like, why are you looking at it and what's the reason why you like one trade over another? Far more important than I'm going long at this price. It's where did I come up with it and why. So we'll talk about that in just a bit, but let's get through the rundown first.
Yeah, for sure. I think, you know, Tesla, will it get to 500? Will it not? I have no idea. But that 430 options level, we covered that in the morning. Joe covered that in the morning. And that is in and around the area where it bounced off of. 430.40s was coming in, and it came in real hot and heavy right off of the open, breaking some prior day levels there. But look at this swipe right back up through the pre-market highs, pulls back in, holds VWAP quite well, and then now a secondary break as well through that 440 gives us a trend to the upside. 449, so 450 is incoming perhaps. We've broken this trend, but still holding higher highs and higher lows, Neil. So looking very interesting. Wow, there's some volume coming in on APLD as the lights simmer down. Let's see if the price action.
Turn your lights down low. Oh, we're done the rundown.
Oh, are we?
That was the last symbol?
All right.
Okay, word.
Tesla.
Okay, that'll play. So actually, the funny thing was when I said it, we could go over like how we find the ideas. I thought we had like one more to go, but no. So here, this is pretty simple. I actually realized I didn't finish the sentence with my 4250 Intel break. I just said 42050 break. I should have said it should be like break out long. But I mean, whatever. Like if we can't understand that, then we can't understand trading in the first place. So I talked about Oklo and SMR. I was like, there's dip support around 112, but I didn't think that was going to be that realistic, blah, blah, blah. SMR is at the 50 period. So resistance, I believe there wasn't resistance till 23 to 2350. And room to run if 21.5 can hold. So here's the thing about SMR. So I'm favoring along in a stock, right? So 21.50 needs to hold. So room to 23.5 if it's going to try to go, but it doesn't break out. So when I say 21.50 needs to hold for some kind of a long to get to 23.5, does it hold? No. So where's my long trade? There is none because there's no support at the level that I need, which is here. It tries here and doesn't go. But it's this failure that gave me the setup for the trade. So initially, I was looking for immediately at the open, 21.50 holds, taking some longs into the break, and then you just structure long as VWAP holds all day. But it doesn't hold VWAP. When I make my note, it's up here holding the volume weighted average price because I'm in pretty early. By the time we get to the open, none of that's happening, and I have to reassess. So the only trade I come up with is it's got a trend break, so I play the trend break, one and done it, and then I'm out of there. The other idea I had was Intel. 4250 was much easier to come up with because you had 2 days of pullback, structure good. Yesterday filled in the gap to the breakout price, and then set up this high break, which was the opening range. Now I have to go. I use multiple time frames, so I start with a daily or weekly, and then come back in. So where you get the 42.5 essentially is just a pre-market high break, but it's into this level. So it's very much, hey, the structure of it holding the prior day breakout level and then going into this top, just take this break to fill in that gap. That was my idea for the trade. That's why I pretty much got out. And then Open Door was even more simple. Open Door was the most simple of all of them because I just was waiting for it to break 7. There was no intraday break of 7 to be traded. So obviously, like I couldn't have done that even if I wanted to. I was like, yeah, 7 long, hold over on the 15, look for trend long. I literally say, where is it? Just hold over the 15, look for trend long. Failed break, willing to reverse. Because if 7 fails, it's a key level, I'll trade in either direction. So what happens? Is there a test of 7? There was one right at the open. That wasn't the first place that I was looking at that time. Intel kind of was, and so was SMR, and SMR didn't do anything. It pulls back in, holds VWAP. So the first thing I look for in a trend is higher low. So 7 holds, higher low confirmed, go long. Higher low holds, go long. Now the mistake here was I didn't get back in on trend, which I could have at the same price I got out. And now the trend looks like it's reversing. So that's kind of the idea. And it starts with the catalyst. Like each one of those had catalysts to be on our watch list. And then on top of that, I will then go to, from that, work on each symbol individually. And I do that for not just the names on our watch list or the 4 I'm looking at, but for like a dozen names and then come up with the ones that I like the best. And Tesla was like 6th on my list or something like that. I just heard RVMD is going. I guess it's not over with. This one, shoot. Adara, is it RVMD's AbbVie, or they're AbbVie, right? AbbVie was the ones that were supposedly buying that.
RVMD?
Yeah.
Yeah, but Merck has since been confirmed.
It's Merck. It's
Merck
okay,
now.
Thank you. Thanks, Adara.
Also, the oil meeting has not started yet. We're not expecting it to start on time. There's a precedent that's been set, so I'll let you guys know when it does start.
Thank you very much.
Yes, thank you very much.
It's hilarious because Adara was just talking about she doesn't rely on, well, I don't want to completely rely on my perfect memory for everything. I mean, Adara, you don't have to rely on your perfect memory for everything, but I do. It's like an absolute crutch for me. I'm like, shoot, I should. It's not perfect, I think. No, but I literally, this was actually yesterday, like the last 2 days. You think I'd be able to remember? It went from AbbVie to Merck that is looking to buy our VMD, but they're actually starting to break out here. The other name that's breaking out, I saw some people in the chat mention this, and it's too early, Netflix, because I'm not long anymore. I didn't get any more because it got through 90, but it didn't get to the mid to low 80s yet, which I'm a fan of on the daily chart, but it is trying to do something here, which is break out this resistance range. So first step, good, it's over VWAP. Now the hold of VWAP is key, and then the break of the local high. So hold VWAP, break of the local high at about 89.15, and I kind of like that for a potential long, because I just keep not getting filled and open. This time this is stupid. It actually came to the offer, and I'm sitting there at 7:45, and I did not get filled. It's just not filling me on the offer. That kind of sucks. David, thank you for the super chat. If I was a better trader. Dave's if was a better trader idea. Likely first red day of the year. Hey, man. How many trading days have we had? What is this, day 6? So if you go 5 for 6, you're killing it. That's all that matters. If I simply stuck to 3 to 7 stocks I know down to subconscious level, I would be more profitable at the cost of boredom, but not chasing 30-plus positions. I'm with you on that one.
Yeah, I mean...
Yeah, everyone has like a happy, like a pocket that they can sit in. And I knew a dude who was consistently profitable for years. Actually, the guy who owns the office that we're going to be going to play poker. And he, on an average day when he was going well, he might trade over 20 symbols. And that you could call 5 or 6 of them primary, but he'd be over 20. That was kind of his happy spot. The funny thing is he had a happy dance he would do when he would have a trade. Yeah.
I mean, maybe we see that today.
He hasn't done it. No. It was when he was younger, when he was in his early 20s.
Sure.
Kind of funny. He really couldn't dance. It was what made it so good is how bloody awful it was. But no, sometimes you have to find that happy medium. Yeah. I find for myself, I have like 12 to 15 that I'm tracking, 4 on my main, and then throughout the end of the day, I'll probably end up trading 7 or 8-ish. If it's more than that, that kind of ends up being too many. If I only trade 2 or 3, then I'm probably not having a good day. If I only trade 2 or 3 symbols, it just means for some reason I couldn't find anything. If that's it, but yeah, everyone has to find it.
Yeah, no. For me, I'd say it might be the other way around. My worst days, I'm probably trading 1 ticker, just like totally focused on it. But I think my sweet spot's definitely like 2 or 3. If I find myself trading like over like 10 or 15, then yeah, I don't think I've ever traded that many stocks. But anything over like 5 or 6, it's nothing too crazy. But this week has been absolutely wild. Was it even today? Like I'm trading. How many symbols have I traded today? 2, 4, 6, 8 symbols on the day today. So that's a little unnatural, but I think it really also depends on like opportunity and what kind of trading you're doing. Like if I'm scalping around, I'll be like, okay, there's a scalp here, I'll take that off. There's a scalp here, I'll take that off. There's a scalp here, I'll take that off. There's a level to level here, I'll take that and hold on to it. Wow, there goes APLD once again. So yeah, the back through 38, I took that piece. It took the stop out when it kind of pushed up and pulled back in. I'm like, all right, I'm willing to give it a tight stop, pull it back in. Through 38, it only gives us like what 10, 15 pennies and then slaps right back through. So yeah, strength is very much the name of the game here on APLD. So not really gonna try that anymore. Where is the next trade? That's what I'm looking for as of right now. Let's see what we can find here. Mag 7s, Tesla not really pulling back here, still holding that uptrend. You can see here on the futures, both the ES and the Nasdaq here, you can see both trending up very, very nicely at the same time. So Apple is just about to break its day high here. What's up, baby? All right, so we got a super chat here. So what are you giving daps or what's going on? He's checking the lighting. Okay.
No, he's
right.
weirding.
So,
anyways.
Yeah. No, I thought he was like coming out for a punch. Okay, so we'll get to the super chat right after we get back from Adara.
Still don't have, unfortunately, the live stream up yet. I mean, the stream is live. It's just not like Trump and the execs aren't here yet. But I wasn't able to cover this for you guys. I apologize because I was up doing the midday. But about 15 minutes before the midday ended, we got a post from Trump on Truth Social about the oil company. So I do want to mention it because I wasn't able to earlier. It completely missed me. So Trump is saying, quote, the largest oil companies in the world are coming to the White House at 2:30 p.m. Everybody wants to be there. It's too bad the ballroom hasn't been completed yet, because if it were, it'd be packed. We apologize to these oil companies that we cannot take today, but Secretary of Energy Chris Wright and Secretary of the Interior Doug Burgum will see them over the next week. Everyone's in daily contact. Today's meeting will almost exclusively be a discussion on Venezuelan oil and our long-term relationship with Venezuela, its security and people. So again, he was also talking here about the reduction of oil prices for Americans. So keep an eye here. That's just what to maybe look out for from this meeting, according to Trump himself. But right now we have a special message from Obi.
All right, thank you very much. So guys, savvy Canadian traders looking to boost their exposure can now tap into the Nasdaq 100, the S&P 500 with Beta Pro 3x daily leverage ETFs featuring built-in FX hedging. This aims to amplify short-term market moves, minimizing the impact of currency swings. Whether you're feeling bullish or bearish, these ETFs are built for active day traders ready to take on the market. Read the full risk disclosure in the prospectus at betapro.ca before you invest. All right, so we had that super chat there. Yep.
And apologies, I mean, we weren't fast enough to get to this because Fabian was checking out the lighting. Thank you, Hal, first of all.
Thank you very much.
For the super chat. Neil, it made all the difference. Have a great weekend. Obi and Adair as well. So, appreciate the words. That being said, I'm old, and I don't never which thing made all the difference. It'd be cool to know what point it might have been.
I think, Neil, it's everything with you.
I don't
know. You're always dropping that knowledge, that Neilage, that wisdom. So, thank you, Neil, very much.
I mean, to be honest, like 99, maybe not 99.
You're 99?
You
look good for 99.
I'll give myself a little bit of credit. 90%, like 90% of some of the stuff that I've learned or I will impart to you traders doesn't even come from my own experience. It actually comes from like being in the markets and on a floor for a long time and even just seeing other traders go through things. Like that trader I talked to you guys about, the one that we're gonna go see about the whole like 20 symbols or whatnot. I'll give you an anecdote. I told you this the other day.
Yes.
I'll give you an anecdote about this trader. So this trader, I mean, I don't want to get into how much risk he had, but it's kind of hard. Okay, let's just say he had the largest daily risk limit on the floor. So he had the largest risk limit on the floor, and he was asking to set risk. He wasn't even dealing with like fluctuating because he'd been trading for so long profitably, and he wanted to double it. And I remember during the conversation over like doubling it, one of the things I said to him was, but like in the last 9 to 12 months, he had gone to his drawdown, his daily loss limit, like almost never. I was like, what do you need it for if you're not going to use it? He says, well, if there's like an A plus or like A plus, I want to have it on board. But when it's not there, trust me, I'm not gonna risk it. And so I kind of did. I had to talk to like the back office and they were like, yeah, okay, we'll trust you. And then after I did it, doubled his risk. Do you think he went like crazy? And first of all, he had some really good months after that. Yeah. But that new doubled risk limit, it was in exactly the same thing. Like he almost never went all the way. Like he'd maybe reached the old risk limit if he was drawing down, but he never pushed it the whole way. He stayed just as disciplined when twice as much was online or he had twice as much room to go. Again, that's what I found so cool about him. It literally didn't matter. It didn't matter that he could risk twice as much. He still treated it exactly the same as he did before. And how many times have you heard me say that to you guys? It doesn't matter how many shares you're trading or it doesn't matter how much is on the table. Just make the trade, and then unless liquidity is a problem, you should be fine. Now, liquidity is going to be an issue. Then you have to worry about sizing and all that kind of stuff. But otherwise, just work on the strategy first, and then you'll always be able to scale if there's liquidity. Let's go over to Adara because maybe this oil thing has started.
I'm sorry, Neil, it's not, but I do have a fun story kind of involving U.S. President Trump. So if you guys remember, I did mention a lot of people here on X this morning were talking about how it looked like Trump might have actually accidentally released some data early, specifically private payrolls data that it looked like he took a photo of and scanned in and posted on Truth Social last night. Well, now the White House coming out and saying that they are apparently reviewing protocols regarding economic data releases. Now, the reasoning for this is apparently because of a, quote, inadvertent public disclosure of aggregate data that was partially derived from pre-released information. So again, as we get this inadvertent public disclosure, which likely refers to Trump's Truth post last night, White House saying they're going to be reviewing protocols regarding economic data releases. Now, it'll be interesting to see what type of protocols they're reviewing and how that's going to change the release process. But either way, interesting stuff. I think it's worth letting you guys know. Back to you.
Yes, and is another super chat? Okay, we'll get that in a quick little second. But this whole meeting, first of all, let's just get it easy peasy. That was fast. That's too fast. I can get it back up there. 0.2% on a 2K day. Thank you so much. Easy peasy. Like, you're definitely sticking to your word. Thanks, Prof. Obi-Wan, Adara PhD, Joe OPT, Joey Options. There, see? It even took me a second to figure that one out. That's how you don't give me that much credit about anything if it took me more than 2 seconds to figure out Joey Options. But with this meeting starting, I looked over to Obi. I'm like, why? Potentially this oil meeting. I took one shot in Oxy, got into it, and was like, this is so stupid, because this is when I kind of like the let's take it breaking out in the long, and I left my order in here, and then got filled on the back end and was like instantly punching in. Like, oh, that was so silly. Lost like 7 pennies on it. And then it just trended down. But that little trend down could break with this meeting. So I'm going to, actually, we were talking about doing this, but where's my edge? Yeah, whatever. It shouldn't matter what stop you use. So I'm going to set a stop. And if at any point we break this local high on Occidental, and I get it, he's probably meeting with a bunch of people and not Oxy, I don't care. If there is a move and we break this, it'll be breaking trend. I'm just going to go long and look for a VWAP or trace on this name. You could make a venture of, like, look at XOM. Like, this is literally trending up all day long. Let's look at CVX. This is trending up all day long. If there's some kind of a crazy spike because of this meeting, I'd look at it 2 ways. Like, I'd rather have the reversion, where like whatever it's doing now changes and just go for the other way. So on Oxy, that'd be long. It'd be weird to have a stop short. I mean, you could do it too. Like, you could also be playing this in the other way. Like, okay, they start talking, these tank, and then you get a reversion on CVX or XOM. I think that's perfectly valid. I would venture, like, see how XOM is breaking out the high? Like, I would sooner do that for CVX here because it's not really breaking out that high, but one or the other. I'm just looking for some kind of a mean reversion trade because those have typically been better in the afternoons, and then I'm looking for an IBIT short. Why am I sitting too close to VWAP? I'm sitting too close to VWAP here. This is just getting faded. Every little pop, it just keeps on getting faded. MSTR. MSTR is not even popping before it gets faded. I'm just going through my list of crypto stuff to see if there's a better short here somewhere. Ooh, maybe this. BM&R, maybe a flat bottom break if crypto is going to continue down. That could be something. Unfortunately, yeah, I didn't pay for locates this morning. Don't break now, BM&R.
Yeah, so what is this? Forget the name now. APLD coming right back through 38. So I'm just taking quick scalps on this. Now I looked into this. I'm like, is this a small cap? I don't think so, man. This is definitely not a small cap. Market cap 10.5 billion. So nothing too crazy. But what is the float? The float is 230 million shares. So not really that small, to say the least here, but just trying to take some quick scalps. Just seeing that, okay, we did attempt to break through 38. 38 was this level here, and we only got about, what, 30 pennies-ish. I think maybe if you're looking at 37.95s, that was my initial stop there, where if we kind of broke the structure high, I'm just going to get out, wait, watch. I tried it again, gave it a few pennies risk there on the back through. Didn't really happen. I'm like, okay, what? I'm fine. I'm going to wait, watch. It could not get past this quarter without any distinction, now pulling back through 38s. What's up, Adara?
Hearing a report here from Stat, which is mostly a medical news agency. They sometimes have info here on some of these biotechs. Anyways, Adam Feuerstein, a journalist here at Stat, saying that his Monday CEO meeting with RVMD, Revolution Medicine, was just canceled, and he also suspects that the company's presentation at this JPM conference on Monday is also going to be off. Now, why is this significant? Because it could imply that a deal might be on the table here with Merck, but this also follows reports that Financial Times and Reuters are putting out here saying that Merck's talks for that $28 billion to $32 billion deal with RVMD are, quote, not a foregone conclusion. So once again here, sounds like this deal could be a bit rocky, though, again, Stats, Adam Feuerstein saying that there are some indications from his perspective as a reporter that do suggest RVMD, I guess, could be a deal candidate here. Back to you.
Yeah, that spread is a little bit wild on RVMD. Yeah.
What is that? What's
How wild? How many dollars?
I just thought $1.50, almost $2 a time. Now it's tightening up to like 50 to 60 cents. Now it's $1 again.
Whoa,
it's all over the place. Like it.
Wow, look at this thing go.
I mean, most people know what I mean by spread, but if you don't, the difference between the bid and the ask, like there, it's like $1.12. It's been $1.50. Sometimes it's $2. Why that matters in trading is what can make it tricky is if you use hard stops, then whatever the size of the gap is, like say it's a $1.50 spread, it's entirely possible that if you get stopped out, say under VWAP, that your slippage can be that. Doesn't mean it will be that, but sometimes that'll happen to you. So you got to be a little bit more careful trading.
I was just going to say they better know what spread is after watching the Midday today, because it was a word that was used very, very frequently.
I'm sure I know you educate them on that, Adara. I try not to make the assumption because I've made that mistake about something this morning, and then someone was like, Neil, what do you mean by that? And I was like, oh.
That's a fair point.
Right.
I was just joking, yeah.
Yeah, because I know what it was. Like I was talking about a level on NVIDIA out of thin air, as if I had explained it to everybody, but I had talked about it at like 8:20 in the morning, and this was like 10 o'clock or something after the open, and someone was like, "What do you mean, blah blah blah?" On NVIDIA, I'm like, "Oh yeah, the one we were talking about at 8:20," and then I had to explain it again. Shoot, it was BMNR that I'm watching. I know you're in APLD.
Yeah, I got back in. I mean, I think I covered a little too much too early, but that's okay. I just want to be involved here,
right.
And see if it cracks this consolidation here. I'm definitely willing to take some more, but the selling is coming in distinctly different now, right? I was like, okay, getting stopped out on the range break, fine. High a day push, back through 38, getting stopped out, fine. It pulls up into what's the high a day right now? 38.32, 30 pennies. I was watching it and I was like, oh, it's not holding the quarter, it's coming back in, and I see it swipe into 38s. A little bit of a hesitation not getting in 38.15s or 38.10s, but once it does crack 38, boom, and it happens to be working right now. But I had to try it like 3 times before it actually comes in. What's up, Adara?
Looks like this oil meeting might be live now. I mean, the meeting hasn't started, but we're now inside the White House. I'm seeing individuals talk to each other. I can already recognize here Chris Wright, who is, of course, the Secretary of Energy, and I believe this might be the back of Doug Burgum's head. He's in charge of the Interior, so if I get more information, I'll let you know. But it does look like we might be off to a start soon for this oil meeting. Back to you.
I almost want to. I have a stop to go long Oxy here, but it's going to trigger any second now. It just needs to go like a couple more cents. It's so intriguing to me that you can have that one downtrending when the others are going up. So that's probably going to trigger. BMNR did break down here. Didn't get filled, but it came back and picked me up on the way back through. I don't want to give this one forever. Like I think there's a sizable gap. Like yesterday when it lost this level here, well, sorry, when it broke from today's low, it didn't really find any kind of a decent pullback until 30.60. So if you kind of like reverse gap this, it's like $1 worth of room. So from here, I do think there's like 70 cents worth of room this afternoon. If I want to scalp out into that 70 cents, like I'm willing to add to it at 50 and give it to that local high, which I should already have a stop in for. Yes, I do. So I already have a stop in. I'm not going to add until it shows me a reason to, but yeah, BMNR in, and then waiting for this Oxy to do something on that all-day trend. Oh, whoops. Yeah, I didn't save that. So like it's kind of already breaking. The reason I keep saying I want to nibble in is if you go from when it lost VWAP, it's kind of breaking the trend already. Like I could already be in this trade. Like nibble in now and then add if it breaks 90, just in case.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, I like the 90.
I mean, 90 is just the round number. It's already breaking trend here. That's the thing. Sometimes you get way too cute. Who cares about the round number? It's breaking trend as we speak, so I should already be in something. So I'm going to try and get into Oxy as it's trying to go. Understand that with a meeting like this, anything can happen and spook it at any time. So when I get I still follow the same rule I always do. I'm getting out. This is the trend. The prior bar before that trend is 42.8. I do prefer a tight stop here. So, I mean, I'm not really going to give this more than like 10 cents. The idea is something could cause it to fly. And if it doesn't, I don't mind being out with a relatively tight stop. That's perfectly okay with me. What else is going on? I keep seeing some people, including James Choi in the chat, saying NVIDIA is trying to fly. It is, but look at the resistance on this at the open range high. It's trying to fly, but look at what's happening at 186. Someone is really resisting this. Close a bar above this high, and then you got something. Like open and close bars above 186. Hasn't happened yet, and then you're good to go. Adara, what do you got?
Yeah, thank you, Neil. That was really quick. Oil stocks pushing higher here. Again, as Trump takes the stage, they're playing the presidential intro music. I will keep you guys posted in anything that happens, but here is CVX just keeping pushing higher as we send you back over to Obi and Neil. What oil stocks are you guys looking at here?
CVX for sure. I mean, literally, as you said, you know, come to me news. I already had CVX pulled up and saw that it was getting some volume and pushing up to the to some fresh highs. I would say up to the highs. Fresh highs are what are being printed right now. 162.55. Now, you know me, Neil. I always ask the question. A little bit of a contrarian, or I like to think so. Is this a sell the news event? We've been running up.
Well,
a little bit.
That's why I was looking at Oxy. I want something to do
something.
I'm looking at the trend that they're already on and then looking for the reverse of the trend, right? So yes. CVX and XOM were trending up. So the way I was seeing is I kind of wanted to be, you could either look for a short there, which I wasn't as huge of a fan of. I wanted to try to look for a long if I could. That's why I liked Oxy. I'm like, well, if Oxy decides to reverse trend, maybe I'd go for that. But it's kind of staying on trend as we speak, so I'm going to try to go for that break. I know Intel's trying to do some things. That could be worth it. I still do not see anything crazy in silver happening. There's a part of me that wants to, like, I just kind of want to be short this into VWAP. I don't have a good reason to do it. It's like I'd be getting into it because it worked before, which is not a good reason to be in a trade. There's just nothing happening here. So it might not be that. RVMD is continuing to look crazy. I just want to see this. Like the spread is starting to tighten up, so it might be a little more tradable now. But then the downside to that is the spread tightens up when it settles down on a stock like this. So it's not always kind of a double-edged sword. By the time the spread looks better and more tradable, you're kind of trapping yourself at bad prices on RVMD. But there's still some room on this to go a little bit further. So that should be on the radar as well. Tesla is literally barcoding at 445. That's a nothing burger. I can show you, here's a 1 minute chart of Tesla. Look at that 445 level. Usually I'll use a 3 minute, but the 1 minute, oh, what the heck is, oh, these wicks. Yikes, yeah, I'll get rid of those wicks at some point. But yeah, absolutely barcoding on Tesla. So there's not much that's making big moves. I think it's right to look at things like RVMD, find an oil stock that might be going. Crypto seems to be working, moving around as well. And then let us know which ones you want. Save Man Woman, CVX is the only one that's in Venezuela right now.
Yep.
The idea being that who knows what will happen over the next couple of years, but you're correct. Chevron is the only one with U.S. oil company with interest currently. The rest had to give them up. That was part of the issue, right?
So Neil, I had a question about the whole thing where they were just like, oh, they got like how many tens of millions of barrels of oil from Venezuela, and they're going to sell them, and they're going to split that between the U.S. and the Venezuelan people. That was the statement made. My question is, if that were to happen, does that mean that we're increasing supply, or was that supply already kind of like priced in?
So it was 50 million barrels that was talked about. The U.S., so the United States uses 20-ish million barrels a day. So you're talking about 2.5 days of supply.
Okay.
For the U.S. economy.
So just a little, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's not, look, don't get me wrong. Like,
I mean,
it's 50 million barrels that you didn't have before. It's not, there's nothing bad. Like, you can't spin that as a negative if you're gaining them for the US, but to act like it's gigantic amount that is, you know, making a big deal. Like, ramping up production there from the sub 1 million barrels a day to, like, it used to be 3 million. They used to produce 3 million barrels a day in Venezuela years ago. And the infrastructure has just deteriorated over the years to the point that now it's under 1 million. So getting that back to like 3, it seems like a smaller number, but when you really start thinking about that, if you got back to 3 million a day and producing, you know, you could be producing 200%. Like 800, 900 or 80, 90 barrels a month, like you're talking about some real gains, like that would be a big deal. This 50 one-time shot, I don't know how big of a deal that ends.
Okay, fair. Okay, that's why. I mean, that's good to know. Thank you, Neil. Yeah, so not really budging in terms of like increased supply or anything like that. So I was just curious, but yeah, this APLD coming right back in. There's the bit of a sell there on Chevron coming right back in. 162.69s is the high there. You can see a nice grinding trend. This is a 1-minute chart here on CVX. We did break out of this prior high, 162s. Bit of a pullback, but you know, eventually caught the bid and got us about 69 cents higher from that 162 breakout from this morning high. And then bit of a pullback right now, 30 pennies flush with some volume. I guess this volume bar was when he started talking or when he came on here, and we're kind of retracing that candle as well. So high volume candle, we're breaking back below the low of that candle, which was in the midst of a stronger uptrend, bigger trend on the day is definitely to the upside as well. So now I'm just gonna ask the question, is this breaking any sort of real trend? So view ups far away, 161.20s. I'm just going to take that out of the way. Let's add an EMA on here. So EMA, moving average exponential, 9 is fine. You know, and let's move away from the 1-minute chart. So we've been holding the 5. Maybe I'm doing a little bit of line fitting. That's fine. We're holding on the 5, but we're kind of chopping around right now. Let's see how this pans out. What's up, Adara?
Drop here for UMAC here, and Unusual Machines and RCAT, Red Cat. Both of these names kind of in that drone space, in the American drone space, pushing lower here as we do get a filing showing that the U.S. Commerce Department is dropping its plan to impose restrictions on Chinese-made drones. Now, why is this significant? Because if we have these restrictions on Chinese-made drones, there's going to be more of a need to use these U.S. drone companies. If these restrictions are gone, these U.S. drone companies might be threatened a bit with that competition. So again, RCAT and UMAC down on that news as we send you back over to the main guys.
You know, the first thing I pulled up was AVAV because I own AVAV. And, well, it is pulling back, but not too crazy. RCAT a little bit more. AVAV just dropped $10, but it's a $360 stock. So it's not necessarily the end of the world, but it's kind of a big deal. But you got to figure you're still going to want U.S. ones anyway. So remember what these stocks have done. So it's maybe an impetus for some profit taking. But if you look at where these are coming from, this is not really that crazy that you'd get some kind of a dip, even if I don't think it's the end of the world at the end of the day. But yeah, thankfully mine doesn't. Yeah, the one I'm in is just kind of reacting to it as like it's like the algos. Like the algos will drop the bid on like a group of things when there's a headline, and then after that, you'll sort of figure out the ones that should have dropped and the ones, you know, some should, some shouldn't, and the ones that shouldn't have dropped won't end up being that bad. You can usually tell on the second candle if they got it right or wrong. But I looked over, my first thought was, is there a dip by an AVAV? Wow, and it didn't really fall far enough. Like if the initial drop had been down to the low, I think that would have been a nice long, but it didn't really fall fast enough or far enough in that first initial push there. I keep hearing keys over there.
Oh, that's okay. So no, Chevron is falling right now, is even further. So it came right into the moving average, flushing even lower. So 162s and some change here. So I am going to pull it up. CVX. Look how slow I am. God. All right. So high day 162.69. Nice. And then pulling into moving average, which is currently at 162.20s, and that's been holding since 2 o'clock. So, okay, cool. A little bit of information. Let's see if we can exercise a bit of a trade here. Let's start off slowly. See how that goes here.
Exercise.
Throw in, stop. Oh, what? Can you not do that? Okay, cool. Thank you. Okay, I was like, it said it couldn't be triggered without me actually hitting what the next thing is. So that's fine. Have the stop in. Let's see what CVX does here as it pulls back into the moving average it's been holding for the past couple of hours here. So we did get a bit of a dip through this level. When was that? That was in and around 12:30. 12:30, we did break the trend, pulls back in, holds higher lows, holds this structure, kind of comes in, starts to test this structure as well, and then now pushing up higher. So let's see if is this going to continue to hold. I have no idea. I do want to get involved. Again, sell with the sellers, buy with the buyers. That's kind of what I like to repeat to myself sometimes. Another phrase that I like to repeat to myself is slow is smooth, smooth is fast. Who is this calling me right now?
Say slow is what? Say that again.
Slow is smooth, smooth is fast. It's something I was taught a very long time ago, and I was like, yes, that is a good way. Because it's just like, sometimes, you know, you can be a little, hold on, what's happening here? Be a little clunky or just like not really used to doing some things, especially, you know, when you're kind of on the keys or learning something. So you learn it slowly. And then you bring in that smoothness, and when you have that smoothness, it automatically, like, you know, eventually that's fast.
Yeah.
So slow is smooth, smooth is fast.
I like.
So,
I just never heard of it.
I was taught that a very long time ago, and it stuck with me. It's for life. So
someone just said someone in the chat says it's a racing term, and someone said it's a woodworking saying. Ah. Yeah, I could.
Mufasa Smith got it right there. That's the one. There you go. Workouts.
Armed forces use it. Military saying, okay, gotcha. No, I was. Yeah. See, you learn something I love this community. You learn something every day. That's a really good saying. Yeah. Because it's a concept that's an easy concept that's very well. Yeah. By the way, this is a second test on Oxy. I just wanted that whole, are we going to make a move because the president's going? So tried it, but it broke the prior bar. So it is what it is. Thank you, President, for doing absolutely nothing for that stop. But I wanted to break out and then to just give it to that prior, and it doesn't hold. The M&R is working out, but kind of mildly. Like I said, I wanted to add to it at 50 because the structure has room to fall all the way down. So I'm not going to bid again until 30 at one point, and then looking for it to get down into 29.7 here. So at least that is trying to go. But this market's not really doing much. Like, this is the Nasdaq here this afternoon. Friday afternoon, everybody, with 45 minutes to go. This is what the Nasdaq is doing. Not too crazy. What just happened? Some old nation just said, what happened to gold just now?
Ooh.
I have silver up, and silver did nothing. It's kind of moved.
What frame are they looking at?
What time frame are you looking at? It's not really moving that much. Silver is...
Look at it on a monthly, you might be like, whoa.
Yeah, like silver is doing nothing right now. No, yeah, you guess. If you're looking at the higher time frame, I suppose. Whoops, and then I just went to a TSX stock. It happens all the time. So what happens is here in P Pro, the platform, there's a drop-down menu. So when you start typing in a company, it gives you some options. But because you can trade every single market here, if I type in GLD, well, believe me, there's more than just GLD in the US. Like, there's some penny stock, the TSX Venture. There's probably some other stuff in like Australia. Yeah, there's like a New Zealand stock. So they all show up in the drop down. And if I'm not paying attention, I'll call it the wrong symbol. So just BM&R looking to maybe get like another few pennies to the downside and then take the next out. If it ends up bouncing here off like 10s instead of off of O's, then I don't mind getting out a little bit higher the next leg, but we're looking for the low of the day press here. The market's not doing much, and crypto's been heading to the downside. So picked on BM&R because I couldn't find an entry into IBIT that I liked. So I just kind of went down the list of crypto things worth trading and settle on them. I bet you could have just gone short MSTR as well. Yeah, but that's not even moving that much. Still, you could have shorted that pop. I just like BM&R's breakdown a little bit better.
I'm looking at APLD here on a 15-minute. It's about to go green to red with the high of 37.44. I pretty much covered everything there when it kind of slapped back up into 40s. I did add below 40s a little bit there, nothing too crazy, but I'm willing to take a bit of continuation here if it's going to have me. But CVX trending back to the upside, so that one is definitely not working right now. I'll kind of look back at it. Let's see. Did I put my stop in? I'm sure I put my stop in there on that one there. CVX. Okay, yeah, the stop is definitely in. I'll wait and see if that actually gets hit. But APLD looking very interesting here. What's up, Adara?
Just be aware right now, Trump is just naming the different oil companies and their executives. Keep an eye on the stocks. They're not doing too much right now. He's just named CVX and XOM, and he's asking if they're doing well, saying they're going to do better now. So again, just be aware these execs are being introduced. Trump also saying there's going to be another meeting on Venezuela and oil next week. Unclear who's going to be at that meeting and what the focus is beyond the overall oil issue. Back to you.
There you go. So yeah, we're also getting low volume this afternoon as well. I feel like maybe there was a wait and see what Trump gave us in the afternoon, or the president gave us in the afternoon. It's just not really anything too crazy. This is a good one because it's not often someone in the chat brings this stock up, and the question was, Neil, do you think BlackBerry can make a comeback? And my answer was this: a comeback is literally impossible for BlackBerry because that would suggest they could be some semblance of what they were before. Could it possibly be a sustainable business that has a recovery? Sure, that's possible. So like temper your expectations. I think what is happening sometimes is like you'll see what Intel's doing. It's like, well, Intel was trash for a while and fell behind and kind of behind the 8-ball. And look at this thing. It's going crazy. So everyone wants to find what is the next stock that can return to its former glory, that had been languishing and had everyone pass them like 10 times over, and then they're trying to get back. I find if you lean too much into that, what'll end up happening is like you're chasing some kind of like a miracle. Just because it happened to these guys, is happening to Intel price-wise, doesn't mean it's going to happen in a bunch of other places that failed or that struggled. So, you know, there's stuff that BlackBerry's got that can make it not go to zero and possibly have some moves back to the upside. But I wouldn't necessarily compare it to something like Intel, where there's a legit turnaround that they're trying to pull off. Do I think it's gone a little too far, too fast? I kind of feel so, but the U.S. government feels otherwise, and so does a lot of people, and so does NVIDIA, because they invested in them as well. So we'll see. Let's go to my left.
All right, guys. So PDS Biotechnology, that's PDSB on the Nasdaq, is transforming how the immune system targets and fights cancer, with an initial focus on HPV-16 positive head and neck cancer. HPV-16 can cause head and neck cancer, and more people are facing these high-risk cancers than ever before. HPV-16 positive head and neck cancers are projected to become the most common type of head and neck cancer in the US in a few years. Learn more at pdsbiotech.com. All right, so yeah, a little bit of a bid coming in here on APLD, stops me out, that's fine. Let's see if CVX comes in and stops me out as well. That's coming into its highs. I did add a little bit there, but again, more than willing to be a little wrong on this one. Again, who cares? Where's the next trade? That's what I'm asking as of right now. So I did get involved. Sorry, what was that?
I was like, these nuclear
Oklo?
names.
Yeah. Remember CCJ? Remember I was like, this is a great reversion? Yeah. Look at what CCJ has been doing.
You had this short?
No, I sold my long.
Oh.
Remember reasons to sell? Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay.
At the 14, I was just like, yep, nope, I don't want it anymore.
Damn.
Yeah,
that
my God.
Yeah, that would have been a short. And it was at the highs. Oh, that's, yeah, I remember you were mentioning this. It was, because it's at the highs. That's the confluence. Always look at your higher time frames when you're setting up a trade, because that's what can turn a maybe good reversion into an A+ one, because it's confluence on the daily chart. Look at that. All green on the 3, first red candle, every short good after that. These nuclear names got absolutely rugged. Ari Pages, you know what? You're gonna win you win this one. That is the most random question of the week. Brief thoughts on using Tums as a mint?
What?
No. I mean, not only is it the weirdest
even is
question
that?
we've gotten in a week, but no. That's an easy no. Why would you use Tums as a mint? That doesn't even make it. First of all, there's like plenty of other really easy, cheap mints that people probably have. Right? I got mints in my bag. If any, like I always have mints. Usually, I have mints in the car. Why would I need to? I wouldn't need to use Tums, and Tums is Tums. So anyways, very random. Maybe there's an inside joke that I just don't know, or some kind of meme out there. Like, did I miss something? But yeah, okay. Well, we had a little fun with that one. We got a.
I got no comment. Oh, what is
That's a lot of emojis. Oh, here it is. See, the problem is you can't. It doesn't do the emojis.
Right.
That little thing. So, love the. Oh, you just love the taste. Oh, then what are you
taste
asking me for? If you just like the taste of Tums, then what do you?
You know, Tums is just like flavored chalk, right?
Yeah, like whatever. It doesn't really matter.
Literally what it is.
Some people like pineapple on pizza, and to each their own. I think it's disgusting, but some people like it. So do you? If you like Tums, enjoy it. I would just. You got Mentos. I'm just throwing stuff out there. Like, oh, what's the really good? No, I can't remember the ones in the tin that are really good.
Oh, Altoids.
Altoids are legit.
Altoids are sick. There's another one as well where it's like I forget what they're called. Altoids are good, but in that circular plastic one, and they have a really strong kind of flavor and like a smell as well. Almost a mouth freshener as well. I don't remember what they're.
Tic Tacs are legit. My daughter loves Tic Tacs.
Yeah.
I have to literally have in our kitchen counter, we have a little thing that is like our vitamin and stuff. And there's always like 2 things of Tic Tacs in there. Both vehicles in the glove compartment have to have 3 or 4 things of Tic Tacs. Because if we come back from like, she had ninja parkour, he's like, "Got any Tic Tacs?"
What is that?
Oh, it's.
Ninja parkour. That sounds sick.
Look, it's a kid's thing, first of all. They just set up a bunch of, like, so there's like it's like a big, massive field house or like gymnasium. There's like there's an actual gymnastics thing that runs on one side, and on the other side is just like obstacle course stuff that you'd find in like American Ninja Warrior, but it's all set up for kids. Then they give it a really cool sounding name like Ninja Parkour that just makes kids want to go to it even more.
I mean, hey, it got me.
They do birthday parties. My daughter's doing it once a week with her best friend, so that was last night. And of course, after they want treats, because that's what you got to do. So they
parkour.
No, it's pretty cool. Like all of her friends loved it on her birthday. They have like climbing. There's like a climbing wall as well. Like
That's
climbing.
pretty cool. Yeah.
So it's like
I haven't been rock climbing in a while.
they basically just stole the American Ninja Warrior and threw that with parkour. Because kids love the parkour thing because it's a big Minecraft game.
I've tried Minecraft, but yeah, no, I know what parkour
Building
is.
parkour courses in Minecraft is a thing.
Oh, is a thing,
like,
okay.
So Erin loves parkour because of it. She has no idea what parkour really is. She just knows that from Minecraft and knows American Ninja Warrior. And so mash that together and charge parents money. And then, yeah, that's how it works out.
Good business idea.
Whatever, she's active, as long as she's doing it.
Yeah, good stuff there. Market continuing to push highs here, and wow, I didn't even realize we don't have more than 35 minutes left, 34 minutes left in the trading day, Neil. So the market seems like it's closing at a high of the day there. CVX just holding around. So we did pull back into that moving average and pushing right back up once again.
How about this? Like, how much are we condemning Bitcoin for this today?
Wow, what a short, man. Oh my God, on the day.
Bitcoin, Nasdaq.
Yep.
Bitcoin, Nasdaq.
Boom.
I don't care what it did yesterday.
They do.
Bitcoin is a short till it's not, and nothing about that is really changing. This is the daily chart, and as far as I'm concerned, anytime it makes that high and fails to break out this top or fails to break out that, and you see the turn, you just short it until it makes some kind of a change. So it's doing it again. It could put in some higher lows, but until it puts in that higher low and gets back on track, this thing is a short into 94 or 95, and then when it fails that, just short it for a couple of days until it finds a bid, and that's what's happening here. Let's go over to Adara again.
Be aware here, executive at Chevron speaking right now. I believe they said he was the president or vice president. This stock is trying to make potentially a new day high as this individual speaks. If I get more details, I'll let you know. He's just thanking Trump right now. Back to you.
Okay, Chevron is about to push to its highs as well. So eyes on Chevron, about to make a fresh high of day. That's CVX 162.69, currently trading at 162s here. Yeah, I did attempt a bit of a short. Didn't really work out. That's okay. It is very clearly holding trend there as well. So, yep, a bit of a miss on my part. Where's the next trade? Still involved with a little bit of this APLD as it just kind of chops. This was an interesting wipe all the way from 37.20s. Looked like it was going to break this 20 level here, but rips right up for another, what is that, 60 penny pop into 37.80s pretty aggressively, almost as aggressively as we pulled back in here on APLD. So this thing maybe just holding structure, stepping up a little bit there, going into the end of the day. Maybe APLD is poised for a strong close. So that's what I'm looking at here. Okay, so we got a super chat here. Thank you, Skirt. Neil, based on your experience, what daily profit range do you believe is suitable and realistic for beginning day traders without excessive risk? Oh boy.
So here's the biggest limitation to all the experience that I have and the experience that Sean has, or you know what? And actually, weirdly enough, most of the like whether it's Joe or Obi, Sharif, I've only ever traded on a prop floor. I've only ever traded a firm's capital that gives me an amount of capital that I can trade and I get a commission on it. So all of my experiences in terms of risking to like your daily loss limit and building from there, that's very difficult to apply to what most people have to do on a retail account, which is you're putting up, maybe you're starting with 10K or something like that, and you're trying to work off of that. So I don't have any experience doing that, and I can't pretend I do. I know others have. I'm pretty sure you have. I know Joe has. I know Sharif has, because I started on a prop floor as like legitimately like one of the first jobs I had outside of university. I did some other stuff, but you know, the first real thing that I did for a long time was trading on a prop floor, and I'm still doing it. So having said that, you have to have some kind of a style that gives you a long enough runway to properly test your strategies. And one of the biggest reasons why I'll advocate for a sim mode isn't necessarily because you can learn everything you need to learn in sim, but it allows you a longer runway. Like if you have a small account, unless you have very good leverage, it's going to be difficult to build a strategy without blowing up that account. That's why people blow up accounts a bunch of times. So to the extent that you can get as many months as you can in the simulator so that you kind of have at least a bit of a running start. Because if you start with a small account, you need to be able to figure things out for months. That's the tricky part. So you try to leverage to the best of your abilities some kind of a simulator or just being in like a training mode. We call it here training mode. So I'm trying to not say training mode for as long as you can so you can develop something which has a positive expectancy. And then you apply it to live, and then once you work out the kinks in live, but you've got yourself a head start because you've figured out what it is that you want to do as a trading strategy. So that's not going to be some kind of easy direct answer. Here, full-time traders start with like you've always just started out. Once you make X in a month, it used to be $3 grand in a month, you become a full-time trader. You go from trainee to full-time trader. It then turned into $2 grand a month. And then from there, you got a risk based on your performance. Like it would be a minimum because you're a full-time trader. It would never drop lower than X, but it was based on a rolling total of your last 2 weeks. And then you were always risking to that. So it was built in as a prop trader, like built-in discipline. Like that's why I never find it that difficult to be disciplined, because I literally learned in a structure that reinforced all the skills that came somewhat natural to me. So I know it's not a perfect answer for you, but I never had the retail trade. So I can literally do some swing trading in my personal account now because I've been trading for 20 years and I'm just messing around with it, and it doesn't really matter to me. I've already built up all this discipline the easy way. But it's not an easy thing to do, retail. That's one of the reasons I think people gravitate toward the show, is because we're just trying to give you guys advice for free and in a very, very difficult game in which most people fail. And there is no easy answer when you have a small account. It's incredibly difficult. That's when people blow up. Leverage any kind of simulator if you can.
I just want to let you guys know here, XOM CEO now talking. After that, we'll get the CEO of ConocoPhillips, COP, CVX exec done talking. We know CVX did move a little bit when the exec started, so just be aware, XOM, then we're going to get COP.
I mean, I'm willing to get right back in.
Thanks, Adair. I was just asking Obi. Sometimes like Adair is talking and I go into, you're not on camera mode right now. And I just turn and ask Obi, are you still in CVX? And that's starting to come back in here. I'm starting to lose some faith in the secondary push of this stock, BMNR. So I'm just going to set a trail. Now, it's one of those Friday afternoons where, in complete hindsight, given the fact that it's not giving that push, I don't think I would have taken the breakdown trade and then added here. I think I would have just done nothing and then waited for the, like I could have elected to, like, on a slow day, sometimes what you should do is only take this trade. Like, don't get involved in the flat bottom break, just only take this trade with tighter risk. But I kind of felt we had more upside. So because you're coming back up to this trend line, I drew it for this purpose. I'm just gonna get out if it breaks this. So that's the plan of action. I always find that you have to have some kind of a plan, but if it's not doing the move or trading the way that you expected, then what you want to do is be able to alter it. So sometimes that means tightening up the stop because it's not moving as much. So I'm going to get out if it breaks 30-30 and maybe just accept the fact it's not going to go more than 1% on this move and get out in front of 30 even.
Yeah, I mean, CVX taking a little bit of a pullback there. Got out of APLD. I'm just like, yeah, that's coming into 38s once again. That was a bit of a key level there. So I did hold a little too far against me on APLD. That's fine. Where's the next trade? The market is still continuing to push up here, Neil. But yeah, no, in terms of kind of going back to that question, I think even if you're trading at home, what I realized, because I'm I used to trade at home, and then I joined Prop Floor, and I was just like, I absolutely knew nothing coming in. That's what I realized. And then eventually, you learn like risk structure and you're like, this is how you should kind of conduct yourself on a day-to-day basis. So my biggest thing would be like, have a daily stop. Even if you're trading from home, have a daily stop and that's how you can work your discipline, right? If you can work within your daily stop, then and can you make good decisions around that, then you can be like, okay, it's like how much money can I make in a day is very arbitrary. It doesn't, like Neil said, it's a very hard question to answer. But going back to, again, what Neil was saying is like, can you build that structure? Can you build that discipline? Can you build the right kind of decision-making process? And then you can up that daily structure. Like I think you can even look up the stats. You can just ask ChatGPT, be like, if my daily risk, let's say, is like $500, and I make half of that daily risk every day, where do I stand in the arena in terms of traders? How consistent can you get with that on a day-to-day basis? Right, and then I think it's all about consistency. That's a big thing. Consistency and process, and then over time the P&L just follows. And I understand being retail, you're thinking about the money. You're just like, how much money can I make? This is not like a job. Like this is not like any other job in the world. It's more like a business than anything. And you're going to have red days. You're going to have red months, and sometimes you're even going to have red years. So you cannot think of it with that kind of perspective. Now, that's just my opinion.
I would say this, if you have, having read, one of the things, and this is the other part about prop trading.
Right.
If you're prop trading, one of the things that it makes it easier is you answer to somebody that isn't yourself. Therefore, like some of the whole, like to have a red year, like that stuff will weed itself out on a prop floor. You don't have that benefit when you are sitting at home by yourself in retail. So to the best of your ability, the other thing that I would say is have some kind of a community. If you're sitting there saying, and you have somebody that you talk to, like this is my trading, and they know your trading plan because you talk to each other, and then you violate it, then you're going over your day, and then like Obi might say, or I might say to Obi, this is what I was planning to do, and then he'll look at me, but like, didn't you say you'd get out there? And then he's holding me accountable because that's all I have, because I don't have a risk manager. Here you've got somebody that literally is going to you get shut down automatically. You lose too much money. They can your ass. You can get fired. Which, by the way, that's one of the. There's nothing fun about firing a prop trader, like because traders have so much passion for what they do. It literally sucks because, and then you make friends on the trading floor. Man, it just, trust me, it sucks. There's nothing. I've had to do it, and I can't. When you're a trader, I hate it even more because like you lose friendships over that nonsense, and every time this comes up, I'm literally just thinking of a good friend that stopped talking to me after I had let him go off the floor, and it sucked. Like, what do you want to do? Like, I couldn't do anything about it. Well, yeah, it is what it is because traders are so passionate. But that same passion, if you don't control it and you don't hold yourself accountable, can also lead to like really bad patterns. So, try to find like a little trading group. You call it your pod. I like have a group of people that you discuss your ideas, you hold each other accountable to your trading strategies, and I think that'll help. Let's go to Adara. 12 minutes to imbalances.
Keep an eye here in XOM, guys. We do have or he just finished speaking now, but when he was speaking, the CEO of ExxonMobil saying that they're ready to put a team on the ground in Venezuela. Trump saying that they're looking for speed and quality. So yeah, again, it looks like XOM is ready to get going. COP CEO currently speaking. Let's take a look at ConocoPhillips. He just finished speaking. COP not at all having the same reaction as Exxon or CVX. So keep that in mind. While Exxon and CVX are both near day's highs, COP has not been near its day high since the open. Back to you.
Thank you very much there, Adara. So we'll see. Hangry Wife, wish you guys had a Discord. Maybe. There's lots of ideas that we kick around, and I'll be straight up honest with you guys. It really just comes down to like our primary thing here at Trader TV Live is the U.S. markets are open, then we are open. We're trading. We're looking at the markets. We're giving you the news, and we're doing this live while the U.S. markets are open, and then in the pre-market as well. So that when there's breaking news, we're going right over to Adara, and that's a lot for us to do. So let's go to Adara again.
COP dropping here sounds like, from what I could hear, Trump asking about a $12 billion write-off that the company had. So he said they'll make it back. Like, Trump's very optimistic here, but the market is not liking COP here. Again, $12 billion write-off. I don't get the sense that this is a brand new development, but the market does not like the sound of that, especially, again, compared to what Exxon and Chevron are doing right now. Sounds like, I believe Exxon has been called on again by U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio to speak again. So there really seems like they're focused here on XOM and Chevron. They seem to care very little about what COP has to say, and unfortunately, market reacting in kind. Back to you.
Thanks, Adara. And I just got a good question here. I was typing the answer, but I'll just, because we're back, I can answer that one. It was Gotham Group. Shoot, where'd it go? Do traders get let go if they don't make X amount regularly? So at Real Trading, every office, like if you own your own floor, you have autonomy. There's risk limits for individual traders, so like you can't lose too much without there being consequences. But an individual office manager owner, like Luis, we have on in Barcelona, he can say whatever he wants. He can be like, look, as long as you're up X amount, you're good to go with me. Or I could say, as long as you're positive, who cares? And someone that could have exorbitantly high limits. If you're not meeting that, they can let you go. They have autonomy on their own floors. I can tell you from the floors I ran, never had any rules like that. You had to treat, as long as you are within your risk parameters, I would understand that some guys can be crazy good for like a few months and then go on the back burner. I told the story of a trader who basically made enough that it was a side gig for like 4 or 5 years. And then a specific strategy went crazy in the OTC markets, and he made more in 3 months than anybody had made the last year on the floor. But it's like you always keep that guy around because if certain things start to happen in the market, he's a monster. And when they don't, he just sits there making a little bit of money and running a side business. But if things pick up the way that he trades, he's insane. So you wouldn't want to let him go when he wasn't making a bunch of money because he wasn't losing you anything either. It was just taking up the seat. But we had, it is what it is. Let's go back to Adara.
Yeah, the CEO of Chevron kind of getting interrogated here, which is interesting. U.S. President Donald Trump asking, well, do you think your guys are in a better position than other oil companies because you already have operations in Venezuela? He's being very coy. He's just saying that the CEO of Chevron is just saying, yeah, I mean, it does put us in a good position. Then Trump's asking, have you guys cornered all the best oil spots in Venezuela? And he's saying, no, like there's a lot of other spots. It's not just these one spots. Then we have now Trump asking CEO of Chevron, hey, do you have plans for a new infrastructure? Where are you trying to go next? So it's almost like a job interview, which is really quite odd to listen to. But yeah, either way here, job interview for Chevron CEO does continue. And again, certainly a little bit of emphasis here in the wording of questions by U.S. President Trump, trying to potentially pit Chevron here against COP and XOM. Again, COP with that $12 billion charge they had to take at some point is struggling here as XOM and CVX fare relatively well. Back to you.
Yeah, a little bit of interrogation, maybe some, troubles in the water.
Yo, we got Danny's.
You got
There it
okay,
is.
so Danny's boy, what's up?
Thank you, Danny's boy. I'm going to leave out this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Come on, YouTube. Stop with this changing everybody's name. After almost 2 years of listening to Trader TV, I can't imagine trading without the safety net of Adara covering all the breaking news with her background and wonderful gift of a brain. I'd be terrified to trade without that. I can't tell you how true that is now, to the extent that like Adara has turned into a literal crutch, I think. In some ways, it's true, Adara. I know you laugh about it, but like, how many times a week am I like, sometimes I'll actually be smart enough to just type it into the chat to it. Like, I'll have a chat open and I'll message Adara asking a question so that I'm not always just constantly saying, Adara, can you remind me of X? Adara, can you tell me when this happened? Adara, do you remember the name of this company involved in this deal? And then she'll immediately know it. Or, Adara, what's going on with this stock? Because I can't find anything. And so sometimes we'll ask it live, and that's great. But other times, just so that I'm not, doesn't seem like I'm badgering her. Like, just put it this way, I badger her more than you guys realize, because I'll also have a bunch of other messages where we're asking questions. That is the reason for this. And, you know, Sia is learning under there, so that we'll always have it covered for you. And we do have earpieces on, so I'm listening to news nowhere near as good as Adara, keeping you guys abreast of it. But you don't want to trade blind. I was telling Obi about a story about how back in the day you didn't know news. There was no social media when I started trading. So sometimes you'd just be sitting there and you'd get swiped and you'd find the reason why you just got destroyed before. Like I was literally trading a penny stock when they went chapter 11, and it happened as I was trading. And in 2003, there's no Twitter. And nobody is covering this stock on a news squawk. So you're just sitting there, and the price action told me that something was crazy, and I remember losing half my day and being like, something's messed up here. And then when it went from 48 cents to 21 cents, and I was out at like 43 or something like that, I lost like 10%, got destroyed. And it wasn't happy, I was having a really good day. But others that didn't just take the price action and realize something was messed up, some people held and got shut down. We had a guy that degraduated that day. Like, he had graduated that month as a trader, and he degraduated because he didn't listen. We didn't have news. Right. If we had Adara, we would have been short and would have crushed it. Being real.
Definitely.
I just wanted to thank you guys for the kind words, and thank you very much to the individual with the super chat. I'm just really grateful to be here and be a part of this community and give you guys all the news.
Oh, I definitely agree with you, Neil, there. Thank you very much, Adara. Just over the past couple of weeks, how many news trades have I taken? I mean, I don't know about you guys, but I've taken at least like 4 or 5 news trades just off of a report. Some of them even being before some of the Twitterverse even picks it up, right? We saw Sean take that Tesla trade when she was listening in to Jensen Huang, basically talking live. Nobody had really tweeted about it.
Yep.
Basically said that Tesla has the best stack.
He just said it. It wasn't.
Sean heard that, and he knew exactly what that meant. And then the volume comes in afterwards because people start reporting that news. So it's just like, you know, we're doing it live. We're bringing it to you here absolutely first. So thank you very much, Adara, for that.
So we got 3 minutes to go until the imbalances come out here. I've now moved my trail all the way down to like 30 and change. Look, BMNR might have a sell imbalance, and I'm still short it, but who cares? BMNR has an imbalance every day, and it never seems to matter. GM with a 1.6 million imbalance, early look could matter. That's in 3 minutes. We'll get those. SOXS, 1.3 to sell. It doesn't really matter. AMCR is there every single day. BSX, who cares? OCG. There's nothing too big. RKT, early look of a buy, 570. QSR, 580. So nothing crazy. If BMNR for some reason doubles, that'd be fantastic. I'm no longer, actually I should still sit at the low of the day. I was like, yeah, I'll just leave it into the imbalances because it happens to be a sell. That's kind of stupid. I'll just sit at the low of the day, and I've already moved my trail from 30.20 on the trend line to really tight to this prior low here. So if it breaks that prior low, I'm going to jump out. If it comes out as a gigantic sell, that'll be fantastic. G Franco, I think it was actually, asked about APLD on the imbalances. The early look before 350 is only ever New York and Amex. We don't see anything on the Nasdaq until they actually come out. So you never get an early look on Nasdaq stocks when it comes to the imbalances. Believe me, we'd love to, but like I'd love to every single day be able to tell you, oh, NVIDIA's got an early look imbalance on it. You just never know with Nasdaq. And all the big names are now in Nasdaq or moving to Nasdaq, it seems.
No, for sure. I'm curious about how some of these imbalances will potentially come here on the day. CVX still a little bit involved in this one. APLD got out of that one. Thank you, come again, for that one. A little bit of a chop, but closing strong going into the end of the day. Only about less than 2 minutes left here on the until those imbalances come out. So I'm going to pull up some of my imbalance locators here so we can get a bit of a perspective of that. Wow, on this side, I guess I don't have too many. There's my NY. Where's my, okay, sort by that, sort by that. Okay, cool, yeah. All right, so we'll wait and see how those potentially come out. But let us know in the chat, what did you guys trade today? Did you guys get with the trend of the market? All day trend on this one, man. Those are real tough for me because, you know, I like my reversions and some of my biggest losses come from all day trends. I'm still trying to figure out what the magic secret sauce is to figure out what's going to trend all day before it actually starts doing that. What are the early
like mayonnaise
signs?
ketchup with a little bit of relish.
Yeah, oh, thank you, Neil. I'll try to concoct that soon enough. But yeah, so I traded a lot of names today. I got Amazon, APLD, Intel, CCJ, CVX, Oxy, and a little bit of SMR as well. So throw it up in the chat. What were the stocks that you guys traded today? That's a lot for my roster.
This is a stock that, so BMNR happens to be a stock that I think you would like because it does a lot of big trend reversions. Like when Bitcoin if Bitcoin is bouncing around, sometimes this won't be following it. Like here's IBIT, like breaks up, and when it turns, look at how much cleaner this kind of pullback trend trade was on BMNR. Like you could try to get into the Bitcoin short, but look at this turn. I didn't notice this until later, but crazy parabolic move up. You could take a reversion here off the open for the long, but even just the short, boom, higher low, break, consolidation, take it to VWAP, lower high, lose VWAP again, bang, another short. Like this sucker, when BMNR wants to fall, that's it. So if it's going up and you like a reversion, sometimes pick on them, and then it's all the better if IBIT happens to be crapping all over itself for most of the day.
Yeah, so we got these imbalances now. So let's see.
Ours working.
We got
and balances are out,
Comcast is there.
Kind of disappointing.
Nothing crazy, man.
And unless there's nothing crazy. Comcast, BT, but that's pretty small. Ford, 900,000. Mobileye, 900,000 sell. The biggest big cap is a sell on Netflix of 800,000. No Nvidia, no Apple, like nothing burger on these imbalances. When was the last time we didn't even have a single Mag 7 name over 1 million shares? Yet somehow the market is a 1 billion to sell. Okay, fair enough. The Nasdaq is 560 and the Mag 7 is 240 million to the sell side. I'm just gonna pull up, maybe Mobileye is doing something on that. Answer is
Daily Double.
no, the Daily Double.
The Jeopardy joke. Yeah.
I miss when you guys did the Jeopardy show.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun as well. Yeah, Jeopardy was a lot of fun. Definitely have to bring that back a little bit here. So okay, so we got a bit of a super chat here. Bearded Warrior Trades. Thank you everyone on the TTV team. All-time high on my account today. Congratulations. Adara on the news, Neil, my fellow bearded warrior, and everyone that makes this show the best.
I love the absolute irony. Congratulations on your good day. I guess bearded warrior is obviously ironic, certainly. The only, my brother goes a mean beard, not me. You will not see me with a beard that is not my look, and my daughter can't stand it, so. Even we go camping for a week, she's like, I don't like it. She's like, I don't like it. And she'll let me know about it too. Yeah, it's kind of crazy. It's only a week. I don't even grow that much in a week, and she'll tell me how much she hates it. And you learn that eventually you just do whatever your daughter likes. I've grown my hair out too, but I can't even do that anymore. All right, I'm just gonna jump out of this. There's bottoming tail candle on volume, as if that's not a reason to get out. That's as far as it's gonna go. There's our big volume candle and kind of a reversal. So I gave it a shot to when it opened, it opened testing to break lower. So I kind of gave it a shot on the next candle, but the second it started going green, I just punched out of it. So I'll be out of the MNR. And I was saying this before you went to the super chat, but I wanted to show IBIT. I eventually shorted BMNR. but that's a force. Like, I didn't even wait for this to try to confirm, like, nah, I'm just going to try to front run this move up in IBIT, despite the fact that I've been bearish on IBIT for like weeks now. I try that one and get cute, and eventually join the trend with BM&R, but that kind of gives you an example. It's never too late to join the trend, especially if there's room to go. Like, if it's trending and there's a distinct area that it could get to, you know, the worst mistake you could make is fighting it all day long, but you can always rectify it if there's still some room to go to join a trend. You know, short a pop if it's going down, buy a dip if it's going up. That sort of a thing. Sounds easy, but that's just, you know. If it was that easy, you got to say it over and over again. You got to remind yourself over and over again, because it's not that easy.
I mean, hey man, that's why I'm just like, I have, sometimes I definitely struggle to be like, all right, I get skeptical sometimes, you know, a lot of the time of a lot of things, and I ask a lot of questions in terms of the validity of certain kinds of price action, and that sometimes, you know, bites me in all the wrong places. So it is something that I am kind of working on. I'm just like, okay, you know, if I see something trending all day, the first question I'll ask myself is like, all right, really, how far is it going to go? Instead of being like, oh, look, someone's buying this up. They might not be done, so I want to get with the trend. That's like the switch that I need to kind of work on. But sometimes that helps me out, right? When something does go what I think is too far too fast, and I hit the reversion, then you know, that ends up working out pretty decently as well. What do you? I see your eyes there.
Grunfeld in the chat just messaged me and said, thoughts on Dow Chemicals long. Chemicals been beaten down, but now trend seems upward. Crossed the 200 SMA on the daily chart, which I was just looking at. Well, you guys, I've spoiled it because you guys, while I was reading that, you guys just saw the higher time frame. Look, if materials are going to be big, I've never been invested in chemical space. I've never owned the stock, but there's it breaking the 200 on the daily. But here is the monthly chart of Dow. So look at this 2020 low. Like, look at the wick bottom on the 2020 low, and then just have a look at what it's trying to break out now. Like, it's trying to break back out and do this range. This is a monster reversal candle on this chart on the monthly. Monster. I mean, Obi.
Yes, sir.
Have you ever seen a reversal candle like this on a monthly chart?
Maybe, yeah.
This setup?
I mean, yeah,
Rarely,
I'll be watching it for sure now.
This is, the Dow is on my radar. 100%.
What's the market cap though? That's the first question.
That's sort of the thing. Like, no, Dow's.
What's the market cap?
Dow's pretty big. I've never owned it. I don't know it offhand. I have to look it up. But like, they're not. These guys aren't chump change. Dow, yada yada yada. 3.8. Whoops. This is so annoying. I type Dow and it doesn't go right away on. Thank you, Benzinga. There we go. That's a little bit better. 18 bill.
Okay, that's not too bad. And the float is hopefully a few hundred.
600 mil.
600 mil? Yeah. Okay.
They're trading. They pay a 5% divvy.
Okay.
Still have declining revenues. Margins are kind of pissed. Yeah, looks good. The fundamentals don't look fantastic. They've lost money the last few quarters. So, okay, fine. The fundamental, again, I hadn't looked at the fundamentals. I just did now. But yeah, deeper dive is worth it. Maybe they are making a bit of a turn on the fundamental. I'd want to look at sort of the trajectory of their earnings and some of the fundamental aspects. But from a pure technical perspective, I mean, come on. That's at least a little bit interesting. So good one. I like that. And the dividend of 5%, I was literally just reading some stuff out there. You don't make a play like this off the lows because it's a 5% dividend. You make it because you think there's a turnaround technically for a trade, or you think the company's doing something different. Because otherwise, you're going to think the dividend's fantastic all the way down. You're going to get burned. So that wouldn't necessarily be the reason. Bottom picking is difficult, but if it's making a sign of a turn, that can be a different story, and this certainly is. So 3 minutes to go here, everybody. Thank you for pointing that one out to me. It is going on my radar. David, last trade of the day. Intel puts February 20, 45 have lots of volume. You think it's gone too far? Well, there's overhead resistance at 50. I don't know off the top of my head when they report earnings. That would probably be pretty important to know if you're going to make that bet. That is for sure. But sounds like you're looking a little bit bearish. It's been a heck of a run by Intel.
Yeah, I mean, Intel's still holding as of right now. Like right now, like today's action, it's still holding near the highs there. Still trading at 45.60. So talk about continuation off of that 45 level where we saw that ridiculous amount of volume, right? I think that's something to be watching going into the next week as well. We broke through what seemed to be like an intraday level and then continued another 50 to 60 pennies above that. Bit of an uptrend here on the week as well. We saw some aggressive bidding a couple of days ago and then once again today as well. So Intel on the rise, man. I think it's finally Intel's time to shine, but we'll see. We'll wait and see. It's been consolidated.
January 22nd.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
earnings.
a few more days.
Earnings will be like a month. You'll have a month after the earnings for that to play itself out. So I think that's probably a good thing. I don't think you'd want that expiring too close to earnings. You'd be in trouble. So yeah, I mean, like I'm still bullish till we test 50 based on what the chart's looking like on Intel and some of the sentiment around it. But you know, you're not that far away and you're giving yourself a little bit of time. So it's worth keeping on the radar. And just to the point about Dow, like I do not like investing in stocks that stink and struggle live as well. But when the setup, let me be very quick, but when the setup's on a monthly chart, like remember Lululemon? Wow, less than 1 minute to go. When the setup's on a monthly chart, you don't have to be in early. You don't have to be trying to catch the bottom. There's a 200 period on Lulu, 1 month, 2 months, green month, go. And it's already given you, it filled in this gap to the prior low. That's a long in the 170s to 80s to 220 to 225. Like what's wrong with that? And then you can hold some for the drain when you have a natural stop out. So if Dow does something like this off of these lows, fine. And that works, that kind of works. And I'd make an argument that you'd probably already be in this one off of like 24 if you were doing that reversal type play, or you're just waiting for them to get a turnaround. So yeah, we like these types of setups. We'll look at them. But the closing bell is upon us for the last time this week. So sorry to tell you, but the market is closing off the highs just a little bit. Shout out to not just Origenics, but Beta Pro, as well as I see on the countdown there. Yeah, the market closing at 1% or just underneath 1% on the Nasdaq, but we did give up like right at the end of the day. You gave up a little bit off of the highs here, so we're not going to end up at the highs, but we're going to end up close to the highs. So strong overall week in the markets. We didn't end up getting a decision from the Supreme Court on tariffs. They pushed that, they essentially pushed that down the road a little bit, but that's not the end of the world. You did have strong moves in energy, nice bounce back play for those, and certainly lots to trade. Disappointment in the nuclear names unless you were short. They basically reverted the entire day after the big news from Meta with a couple of investments. But it's been a fun week. I want to thank you guys. Lots of great questions today, which is always fun on a Friday when the market isn't really doing as much. So always keep those coming. And a big reminder, on Monday, obviously we'll be back at 8 a.m., but on Monday at 3 p.m., 3 p.m. on Monday, we are giving our 2026 picks. So come back and tune in. Yeah. Sharif is back from holiday. Sean had the day off today. Obviously, he'll be back as well. You're going to be in.
Yep,
hopefully,
I'll be here.
Obi's going to be giving his picks. Joe's still here. He'll be giving his picks. Adara as well. I don't know about Sia for sure. I think Fabian's going to get on it. So we're going to have a heck of a lot of fun on Monday at 3.
We can also take shorts.
Yes, which
I'm so excited. So
I think the rule we set for the shorts is it has to be in a major index. None of this I'm going to short some Mullen nonsense.
No, yeah, for sure. It has to be either Nasdaq or NYSE.
Yeah,
Nasdaq or ES.
No, I'm only gonna put longs in.
I'm gonna have shorts and longs.
Because I would find like a Mullen and just be like, yeah, short that thing.
I mean, there are some things that are crazy overextended.
Yeah, I just think it gets
like
a little too
parabolic. And they've already started to curl on a higher time frame. On a multi-month chart, they're already breaking trend. For example,
you're going to give one?
Have you seen Netflix? It is breaking a 3-year-long uptrend.
I don't want to hear that you want to short Netflix.
No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying that's a good example of if you had picked that at the beginning of this year, how would that have, or not this year, at the beginning of 2025, how would that have gone?
I know we're going to get out of here. Let's
quickly check the,
you want weekly on this one? Okay, but the last thing, I know you guys want to get out of here. Breaking, it's obviously breaking trend. But
if you pick something like this, like if that had started there, you know what I mean?
83, baby. We're waiting for 83 on Netflix, but that will add some spice to it. So on Monday at 3,
Higher time
our
frame
picks,
charts.
longs and shorts, apparently. Mine will all be long. Bet you Sean's will all be long as well, but, you know, to each their own. We'll have some fun with it. Enjoy your weekend. I'm going to go with Go Indiana because that's who I want to win over Oregon for no particular reason. Michigan State's not going to sniff the finals anytime soon. So if you've happened, it's college football, by the way. So if you happen to be interested, enjoy the weekend. It's also wild card weekend, so I have to end it with this. For Obi, for Sean who's not here, for Adair, for Joe, for Sharif who's not here, for Brendan, Fabian, Ramin, and Andre, the entire crew, and for the greatest community out there, we'll see you Monday morning at 8 o'clock, and let's go Buffalo.
See you guys.